All right, so today we're going really deep, a deep dive, as they say. We're going to be exploring the world of alligator symbolism, and it's a surprisingly profound topic when you really get into it. We'll be using Bob Camblin's book, Alligator, Zen, I Ching, and Hidden Realities as our main source.
And that's a fantastic book, just full of insights. But we'll also be pulling in some excerpts from his other works.
Yeah, and we've even got a YouTube analysis of his alligator art that we're going to bring into the mix.
We are, because what we're going to try to do is uncover how this image, this seemingly simple image of an alligator, connects to ancient wisdom traditions, like Zen and I Ching.
Right, exactly. And we're going to see if these ideas might even have some relevance to your life, to our lives as we're going through these things.
Absolutely.
Now, you might be wondering what exactly Zen or the I Ching is all about.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So in a nutshell, Zen emphasizes mindfulness and seeing beyond those surface appearances. It's kind of like peeling back layers to find a deeper truth. The I Ching, on the other hand, is an ancient Chinese text that uses hexagrams, which are symbols made of lines, to offer guidance and insights into different life situations.
Yeah.
We'll get into the specifics of how these connect to the alligator as we go, but I think the best place to start is with Camblin's lithograph, Alligator.
Yes, absolutely. And it's interesting because it's not your typical alligator depiction. Most people, when they think of an alligator, they think of tough scales.
Right.
And that's what you see in the initial glance at this lithograph. But Camblin takes those tough scales, those tough alligator scales, and turns them into this intricate tapestry of hidden stories, shapes, and textures.
Oh, wow.
It's really remarkable when you look at it. It's like he's saying there's a whole world within each scale, a depth that we might miss if we just glance over it.
Okay, so he's definitely hinting at something deeper here with this. It's not just a cool art technique that he's using.
No.
What's he trying to tell us with this tapestry within the alligator skin?
Well, that's where the Zen connection comes in. In Zen, the alligator represents that tension between what we see on the surface and the deeper reality that lies beneath. Think about how an alligator can seem so still, almost lifeless, but beneath the surface, there's this incredible power and awareness.
It's like that saying, still waters run deep.
Exactly.
We might see stillness and assume passivity, but with the alligator, there's a lot more going on beneath that calm exterior.
Exactly. And that's what Camblin is trying to capture in his artwork, I think. He wants us to question our assumptions, to look beyond the obvious, and to realize that there's always more than meets the eye.
And this reminds me of that YouTube video we have in the stack where the art analyst says, beneath the surface there is complexity, a world woven within each line and form.
Yes.
It seems Camblin is using those intricate details in the alligator's skin to pull us in, to make us pay closer attention and really see what's there.
And that act of slowing down, observing closely, that's a big part of Zen practice. It's about finding wisdom in the seemingly ordinary, in the details we often overlook.
Okay, that makes sense. But how does the I Ching fit into all of this?
Right.
Does the alligator have a specific meaning within that system as well?
It does. In the I Ching, the alligator is linked to the hexagram called Lu, which translates to treading carefully.
Okay.
It's about moving forward with caution, with awareness, being mindful of every step you take. Imagine walking on the tail of a tiger or a dragon. You'd have to be super mindful to avoid danger, right? And that carefulness is mirrored in the way an alligator moves and hunts. It waits patiently, observes its surroundings, and chooses its moments wisely.
It's interesting how Camblin combines the realism of the alligator. You see an alligator, it looks like an alligator, with these surreal, almost dreamlike details in his artwork.
Yes.
Is there a connection between his artistic techniques and the ideas of hidden depths that we're talking about?
Yeah, that's a great observation. Camblin is very intentional with his techniques. He uses etching. Etching is a very traditional printmaking method, but he also incorporates elements of surrealism. And in surrealism, you blend realistic imagery with fantastical elements.
Right.
It's like he's merging the concrete world with the world of dreams and imagination.
So it's not just about the alligator itself, but also how he chooses to depict it.
Right.
He's using those techniques to add another layer of meaning, to hint at something beyond the surface. It's like he's saying there's magic in the details, and that's where we find the real truth.
And speaking of truth, Camblin himself said, the light is all you need. The end is to evolve by doing the best you can. And this ties in with both Zen and I Ching philosophies, taking mindful action, understanding that even small choices have consequences, and striving for continuous progress.
That's a powerful statement. It makes me think about how we often rush through life without really paying attention. Maybe we're making choices without fully considering their impact,
Yeah.
or we're just skimming the surface of experiences instead of really diving deep.
And that's where the alligator, both as an animal and as Camblin's artistic subject, serves as a reminder. It's a call to slow down, to observe, and to recognize the depth and complexity that exists within ourselves and the world around us. It's like we're all walking around with these intricate alligator skins, layers upon layers of experiences and thoughts and emotions. But how often do we actually take the time to really examine those layers, to understand the stories that they hold?
Camblin also said something in one of his books that I found really intriguing.
Okay.
He said, look into the atom, you get what you need. Look into magic, and you get what you need. Philosophy and art are in both. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that? What do you think he was getting at there?
Well, it's fascinating because he connects seemingly disparate things like atoms and magic.
Right.
Science and art, it seems like he's suggesting that there's a deeper truth that can be found in both the scientific and the mystical,
Yeah.
the rational and the intuitive.
Ah.
And he sees art as a bridge between these worlds.
So it's not about choosing one over the other, but rather recognizing the value in both.
Yeah.
It's about finding those connections and understanding that the universe is full of these mysteries that we may not fully grasp, but we can explore them through various lenses, including art.
Precisely. And that brings us back to the alligator and its symbolism.
Right.
Just as we might initially see the alligator as this simple creature and miss the complexity beneath the surface, we might also limit our own perspectives if we only focus on one way of understanding the world.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about being open to different perspectives, being willing to delve deeper, and recognizing that there's always more to learn and discover. But how do we actually do that?
Right.
How do we cultivate that kind of awareness in our daily lives?
Well, one way is through practices like, meditation or mindfulness exercises.
Mm-hmm.
These practices help us quiet the mental chatter and really focus on the present moment.
So instead of rushing from one thing to the next,
Mhm.
always thinking about the past or worrying about the future, we can try to be more present in each moment, really absorb what's happening around us and within us.
Exactly. And it's not just about formal meditation. It's about bringing that same sense of awareness to everyday activities, like when you're washing the dishes.
Right.
Instead of letting your mind wander, really focus on the feel of the water, the soap, the movement of your hands. Or when you're walking down the street, notice the sights, the sounds, and the sensations around you.
So it's about finding those little pockets of zen in our everyday lives. It's
Yeah.
about shifting our focus from constantly doing to simply being.
Precisely. And when we start to do that, we might be surprised by what we discover, both about ourselves and the world around us. We might start to notice those hidden depths,
Yeah.
those subtle connections that we previously missed.
It's like those optical illusions where you see one image at first glance, but then when you look closer, a whole other image emerges.
Right.
It was there all along, but we weren't seeing it because we weren't really looking.
That's a great analogy. And it applies not only to our perception of the world, but also to our understanding of ourselves.
Yeah.
We all have these layers, these hidden depths that we may not even be aware of. But when we start to pay attention, to really observe ourselves, we begin to uncover those hidden aspects of our being.
It makes me think about how Camblin uses those traditional artistic techniques.
Okay.
But he uses them in a way that's both familiar and unexpected.
Yeah.
It's like he's honoring the past while pushing the boundaries of what art can be.
And that's a great analogy for how we can approach our own lives. We can draw on the wisdom of these ancient traditions like Zen and I Ching, but we don't have to be limited by them. We can find our own unique ways to express ourselves.
Right.
To create our own personal masterpieces.
So it's about finding that balance between tradition and innovation,
Yeah.
between the known and the unknown. It's about embracing the wisdom of the past while still being open to new possibilities.
Exactly. And that's where the real excitement lies. It's in that space where we're constantly learning, growing, and evolving. It's like we're all on this journey of self-discovery.
Right.
And the alligator with its symbolism of hidden depths and careful treading, serves as our guide.
I love that. It's like Camblin is using the alligator to point us in the right direction.
Yeah.
reminding us to be mindful, to look beyond the surface, and to embrace the mystery and complexity of life. It strikes me that this whole idea of hidden depths isn't limited to just Zen and I Ching. We see it, in all sorts of stories and myths, right? Think about all those creatures with secret powers,
Yeah.
or characters who are hiding their true selves.
You're absolutely right. It's a universal archetype, this idea that there's always more to us and to the world than we initially perceive. It's what makes those stories so compelling. They tap into our own desire to explore the unknown, both within ourselves and in the world around us.
And Camlin's artwork, it does something similar. Those intricate details in the alligator skin, they draw you in. They make you want to lean closer and examine, every nook and cranny. It's like he's inviting us to do the same with our own lives, to really pay attention and see the richness and complexity that's often hidden in plain sight.
It's a powerful reminder that life itself is full of these hidden depths. Every experience, every encounter, every moment has the potential to reveal something new and unexpected if we're open to seeing it.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here from Zen and I Ching to art and mythology. As we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you'd like to leave our listeners with? Something to ponder, something that maybe wasn't explicitly stated in the material we've covered.
Well, if life is like the alligator's intricate skin full of hidden stories and wisdom, I'd encourage you to consider this. What stories are hidden just beneath your own surface, waiting to be uncovered? What would it take to start peeling back those layers and revealing the full depth and complexity of your being?
That's a fantastic thought to leave our listeners with. It's a reminder that the journey of self-discovery is ongoing, and there's always more to uncover, more to understand, more to appreciate, both within ourselves and in the world around us.
And that journey, it doesn't have to be a solitary one. Just as Camblin invites us into his art, we can invite others into our lives, share our stories, and learn from their experiences. That's how we create a richer, more interconnected tapestry, not only within ourselves, but also within our communities and the world at large.
So to our listener, we encourage you to embrace the mystery, the unknown, and the ever-unfolding complexity of life. Look beyond the surface, tread carefully, and never stop exploring those hidden depths. You might be surprised by the treasures you find.